Welcome to another episode of the Know Your Rights Camp podcast. I am Mariela Regalado. I joined the camp in 2016 as the Know Your Education speaker. I was born in the Dominican Republic. I'm from Brooklyn, and I am a college and career counselor.
Yes, and I am Tat Wizard. This is actually my very first
Yay!
Know Your Rights camp.
Welcome.
I'm honored. Thank you very much. I am honored to be here. I work in New York. I'm from Brooklyn as well.
Oh, holla.
Bed-Stuy in the house. Do or die Bed-Stuy.
You're...
I work at Hot 97. I am Funk Flex's producer. So for those that know, 97.1 FM in New York City. The best hip-hop radio station. Sorry, everybody else. And that's where we're at. And today we're here. We're talking tech.
Yes, we're talking tech. Go ahead.
Listen, we have 10 rights. The number 3 right is the right to be brilliant. And in that building today, we have 3 brilliant young men.
Yes, we do.
We'd like to welcome Kevin, Perry, and James in the building.
Welcome.
Gentlemen, welcome.
Glad to be here. Got Hidden Genius in the house.
Hidden Genius in the house. Listen, you guys have, you're very young, and you have an extensive background already. What does that feel like?
I feel really old, and I don't feel like I should feel old. Yeah, it's having so much experience and having such a large background. It's like it feels weird having all that at 21. You know.
Now listen, I heard this is my first camp, but I heard you guys have been here before.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
So you guys presented an app at a previous camp. Is that true?
Yeah. So we were all here in 2018 at the New Orleans Know Your Rights camp. Mm-hmm. At the time, I was in ideation phase, so I was more so talking to young folks like about my company, Fix My Kicks. It's an online marketplace for shoe restoration and customization services. We partner with cobblers, artists, and restorers to make their services more accessible to our customers. Mm-hmm. And so at the time, I'm pitching like, oh, is that something that y'all would use, young folks? Like is this something that's
so
cool
you use the Know Your Rights camp audience, the students that were in the audience, you use them as your focus group
market
for your
validation.
app.
Yep.
Right.
And so now we're beta testing. We're fundraising $250,000 at a $2.5 million valuation.
Wow.
And we're able to, like, you feel me, show off our platform, talk about the experiences I've learned in the time since. It allows you to envision a future for yourself that wasn't nobody talking to me on High Street. Feel me? All I saw was either you drop out, you sell dope. You feel me? You make something shake. And but we sitting here in the room. She talking about she managed $1 billion fund. Mm-hmm. We on a private jet. Feel me? Black men. We 18. Like you feel me? And that like it just changes like what you see for yourself.
Absolutely.
Like, you feel me?
And that's truly what the camp is about.
Yeah.
Now, I want to know, because you came to the camp a couple years ago, and then now you're actually like presenting. Like you mentioned you were in ideation phase, and now you're in another phase. So talk to us a little bit about how the camp has influenced that growth and what you want the camp members that are coming now to get from the camp. Because we know what you got from it because we see it loud and clear. What do you want them to get from it? Because now you've done that transition and you're growing. What do you want for the students that are here now?
For sure, yeah. First and foremost, like when I was 18 and I first came to the New Orleans camp, I didn't know my rights at all. Honestly, I didn't know about the importance of knowing your rights. Just from that exposure, I actually got to learn about, the rights and what you guys do to support. So that was just an amazing experience as well. And it's important to take away, knowing your rights and also the importance if you was like stopped by a police officer and things like that.
Building that confidence, having that knowledge in your back pocket, knowing where they can and can't push those buttons.
Absolutely.
That's key. How are you doing it? Are you using coding or are you using non-coding, like is a new way of doing things? Are you using blockchain? What are your methods?
So there's a mixture. Like, so like for me, I'm not a developer. Like all of our experiences will be completely different as we speak to it. Like I'm not a developer. I was never interested in being a developer, but I learned through and he is a developer. So Kevin helped me get through the Hidden Genius project. Just by like, all right, I want to create a marketplace for shoe restoration, but like I'm not about to code. Like I told Brandon, I'm not coding nothing, but I might do a business.
But that's good. You were aware of your strengths and weaknesses.
Absolutely.
And so you knew your resources. You got Kevin.
Was a resource. He helped us get it done. And then, so I ended, as far as building Fix My Kicks, I went to Upwork, hired, and because I don't have that experience myself, but we were able to get it built. And then y'all could.
Yeah, Kevin, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I'm a software developer by trade, so I'm starting off with my business, just building it myself as much as I can, and then planning on using some of the early funding I got to push it along even faster.
Fire. Nah, that's super dope. I mean, like, because coding is scary to people, right? Like, they don't want to get into STEM because one of the things that people talk about getting into is coding. And then they're like, oh, what is this foreign language? What's going on here? Yeah. But it doesn't have to be scary, right? You can take your time, you can learn it, and you can get involved, and you can do the things. Or you, like James, you don't have to actually code. You can have the idea and find the resources in order to get things done.
Absolutely.
One of the things that Know Your Rights Camp wants to do for people, young people, is give them the opportunity to understand that there's more that they can do in life other than what they've been shown.
Yep.
How do you envision using tech as a social change? That's what we're doing here today. And I think, Tat was mentioning, a lot of students don't realize the power that they have, right? But once you get that confidence and you get that information, then you're stepping into that power and you start creating things and you start manifesting and you start living that life. But what would you tell students about what it takes and how they can use tech to get there? Because like Tat said, people usually think it's like the coding, the 0011, and all these fancy things, but we understand tech as so much more. So how do you think we can get students to understand that tech is something they can use and it's not something scary?
Yeah,
I could talk a bit about that.
Please.
So for me, I always felt like I was an artist growing up, and so I kind of just used tech as a medium for getting into that kind of thing. And so that's why my business is focused around empowering artists to use technology to make profits and sustain themselves with their artwork. So I say that to say that even if you're not interested in coding, that you can still use technology to push whatever goal or push towards whatever goal it is you want to achieve. So to artists and all the students that, maybe feel intimidated by technology, I think there's a lot of free resources out there that you can use to just empower your curiosity, jump in.
Oh, I like that. Empower your curiosity.
That's facts. That's what it takes in order to get from one step to another, is figuring out those steps. And to figure out those steps, you have to ask the right questions. And to ask the right questions, you kind of have to ask all the questions to figure out which ones are right.
Yeah, that's it right there. And I think, like, to add to that, like the fear of it comes from not knowing, right? Like, it's like I think I used to be scared of it too. That's why I didn't want to be in Genius Project. Like, my mom was concerned for my well-being and was trying to get me somewhere safe. Right. And so I ended up in there. But I'm like, it was scary to me too. Like, coding, like it was just so much work.
Was it scary because you felt like you didn't belong in Hidden Genius at that moment?
I felt like I didn't belong. I felt like I didn't know if I was even willing to be open to belonging, right? It was I knew what I knew, and that wasn't it, and that was uncomfortable for me. And taking like Kevin said, it's just a vehicle, and like it's scary to think of, like, being an architecture, designing a building is scary, but maybe you're interested in interior design, right? And just getting familiar with the landscape. You don't have to design the whole building, but what part of it are you interested in interacting with, and that's for you, right? Like we're entrepreneurs, but you can't do everything, right? What's your favorite part of the business to specialize? You know what I mean?
That's a fact. One of the things that I do, at the radio station is listen to a lot of up and coming artists, right? Hip hop artists, producers, and so forth. It's a ton. Yeah. Dare I say too many?
Oh, absolutely.
And dare I say not everybody should be doing this.
No, they should not.
And so one of the things that I've been trying to do is push people into STEM so that they have a future. Like, what do you guys see the future as? Do you see a future where a bunch of black and brown kids are going to be rappers? Or do you see a future where a bunch of black and brown kids have a career in technology?
Not everyone can have a career in technology. We were just talking about that a few moments ago, how, like, blessed we are. Like, on our skill, we can go, any tech company wants us. Any startup wants us. Any investment firm would be lucky to have us as an intern. We get to choose because we've put 2 years in, and I make music, and it's dope. But you don't have to be stuck. Just if you're not the dopest person to make it on the court, get behind the screen. If you're not the dopest person on the mic, get on the keyboard. Like, you don't have to be the star, bruh, and you don't have to be Curry, you don't have to be Lil Baby. Those are dope. Not everybody has the articulation and the flow and the bars for it, period. Like, not everybody has the work ethic to go sit in the stool that long or go get on the court that long. And if you don't, that's cool, but you can still make some bread.
There's something else.
There's something else for you. And that's what we like. The opportunities are there.
Figuring out your passion.
Absolutely.
Once you figure out your passion, if music, like you said, if music is your passion, but maybe not within your grasp.
Maybe it's not gonna pay your bills as an artist, as a lead
artist, right? As the guy that's sitting in front that everybody's, bowing down to. That may not happen. But if that is your passion, what are your options? Your options are either go do this until you can't do it anymore and then go get a job that you hate, or get a job adjacent to the thing that you love that you're able to do daily and you're passionate about.
Or create an avenue, because even just throughout the pandemic, we saw so many people create new jobs and create so many things that we didn't even have before, right? And one of the things Tat and I were looking at is that close to 71% of careers right now need some kind of computing experience. That right there is tech, right? And I think it's taking away that mythical element of when people hear a tech startup company or Silicon Valley. It's understanding I do belong there and I already have those skills, but I need the language, I need the resources, learn how to network, and also know how to pivot, right? Thinking about how you said, if that career didn't work, what else in that career can I do?
And being excited, proactively being open-minded about pivoting. People end up so bitter because you're chasing I want to be a hooper.
Right. Or when I get there, I'm going to have the money to do this, I just need to do this.
But you could have been peep game, bro, you not the rawest on the court and you don't work hard enough. Bro, go get in the booth. Go get in the booth.
You're not working
be
hard
proactive, and don't be bitter and be like, oh man, the world screwed me over. You wasn't looking for another route.
Yes.
That's right.
You feel me? On my
Speak on it.
Absolutely.
That's it.
Thank you so much for being here. I think we can keep talking about this, and I think we should keep talking about it, especially for our youth. So what do you would like to say as an affirmation or something that keeps you motivated? Because you see the passion coming out of all of you. So what's something that you want to close out with so to motivate folks, or to give them kind of a poem, an affirmation, a quote, something that motivates you when that passion and that drive or that tank is empty?
I got one. Changing the narrative, most definitely. Seeing what the org's doing right now, the Hidden Genius Project, I Know My Rights Camp, just changing the narrative is important. I'll say that.
Thank you.
Absolutely. I think just do it. You're going to find something to do with your time and yourself and your life, or somebody will, man. These prisons would love to put you in there. There's jobs that would love to pay you minimum wage to maximize your skill set and time. And you going to figure out what to do with your time, or the world will, I promise.
That's a fact.
That part.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I would just say stay centered and focused on love and love yourself, and that will open all the doors and give you all the answers that you need.
That's a fact. Mariela,
That's beautiful.
Number 3, the right to be brilliant.
Absolutely.
These young men, we ask what makes an individual brilliant, and these young men have shown it perfectly. The definition is exceptionally clever or talented and very bright and radiant.
Check.
And these young men have done all 3.
Yes.
And we appreciate you, and we hope that this guides some more souls to the light. This is Know Your Rights Camp. I'm Tat Wizard.
I'm Mariela Regalado.
I'm Kevin Butler.
I'm James Green.
I'm Perry Irving.
And we know our rights.
This is the Know Your Rights Camp podcast. And if you like what you've heard, like, subscribe, and share.